guys, here's what we're making today. This is a brand new pattern by Janie Bags, OMA bag. It is so cute. Janie lives in Nigeria. She's a fairly new bag designer. We need to go support a bag designer across the world. Isn't that cool? She reached out and asked me to do a video, and I said, absolutely, I will. This is adorable. You've got a twist lock here. And inside you have a zipper pocket, nice big zipper pocket, and then 2 slip pockets and tons of room. Now this has a shoulder strap. You could easily make it a crossbody by just making a crossbody strap and attaching it. Oh, look at that. It's got purse feet on the bottom. It's absolutely adorable. Go get the pattern. The OMA bag by Janie Bags. Let's get started. Hi everybody, this is Barbie with Jeannie's Designs. And I'm getting ready to do a brand new pattern by a new designer to me. Her name is, the company name is Janie Bags. And the name of the bag is OMA bag. She lives in Nigeria. She types very good English. And here's the picture of it. It's very, very cute. It's, I think she calls it intermediate level. I haven't made it yet, but just the pieces, there aren't that many pieces. She does give you pieces for all the interfacing, which is a beautiful thing. I love that. So, I love it. And the finished size is 9 inches by 7.5 by 7. Now, I did not increase the size. So, you know, for those who think that I increase every pattern, I do not. I do tend to do that a lot, though. So, no worries. But this is it. The OMA bag by Janie Bags. It just released today, and today is June 17th. It might have released yesterday. Anyway, I'll link it in the description below. There is a sale going on, and that'll be obvious on the website for her. All right, let's get started. All right, so these are the 2 fabrics I'm making it out of. This gorgeous snake skin that has purple and pink and black. And then that's mainly just the accent pieces, and then most of it is going to be in the black. So a couple things. This is the handle, piece K. And I made mine 2 inches longer than what she calls for, just so it could go over the shoulder. I am not a huge fan of short handles. I know some people are, so I did it kind of in between, just 2 inches longer. I'm sure her size is perfect as well. I just, you know, I always have to make something bigger. So then I'm going to work on doing a lot of prep, and so I'll go over all the pieces as we prep them and use them. Thanks for watching. Be sure to give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. All right, so this is piece Q, and it is the D-ring connector. So this is both of them, and I'm just going to draw a line down the middle. Oh dear, is this out? No. Sometimes this black doesn't mark. Let me see. Let's see if it'll do it now. Nope. Let me get a different color. Let me see if this purple will mark. Kind of. Okay, it'll be good enough. So we're just putting tape down each side of the line. Okay. And then we'll fold that to the center. Like I said, this will become 2 pieces. Two D-ring connectors, 1 inch. All right, let's sew that up. I am using pink Tech 70 thread. Let's cut this in half. And we're going to add 2 D-rings. Oh, noisy. Okay. And I think since I have my tape out, I'm just going to put just a small piece of tape right down here. Just so it'll stay together. You could sew it as well. There's one. And here's 2. Okay, so those D-ring connectors are done. Love it. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to add to my handles some foam. Let's see where it is. There it is. The foam is piece L. Oh, you know what? I just realized I made mine I think this is going to be fine. I'm just going to center it. I was thinking I made my, I made my handles 2 inches longer, but I did not increase my foam. And I'm just going to leave it alone. We'll see. So this is about 1 millimeter foam, and I'm just going to center it right down the center, and the same on this side. I did do a cutting out video, so you'll see on all my interfacing, I tried to use up some scraps of fleece and foam. So now let's, this is going to be 2-sided. So we're going to fold it to the middle, and the raw edge will be inside. Okay. So one side's going to be black, one side's going to be the snake skin. I almost said sheepskin. Where that came from, I have absolutely no idea. Okay. I am going to go ahead and fold that in. There's one. Now, normally when you have two-sided straps, you make one smaller than the other. I did not do that for this. At least that's what I typically have done. Now, I'm going to put a piece of 1/2 inch double-sided tape down the center. And then I'll put them together. Perfect. Love it. Okay, my snake skin, I want to say sheepskin, that's terrible. Tiny bit longer. All right, we're going to sew down the black side, so I am sure that I'm getting it correct, and down each side. I'm doing a bit of a bobbin dump, so I knew there was enough to do this top stitching. All right, beautiful. This is going to be short still, so I think it's going to be fine though. All right. Next step. All right, so piece G is the interfacing for piece F. So we're going to interface that. And I just had it. Where did it go? Okay. Here it is. So this gets a piece of, the base also gets a piece H, which is heavy interfacing, just FYI. So that is going to go in the middle here. And then on top of it, I am putting a piece of fleece, just like this. The other nice thing about this pattern is there are good size seam allowances. So if you feel like it and you need to, go ahead and mark your seam allowances. I'm not going to, but that I'm going to do that. I got to interface. I got to get my iron going for that. And then piece J is for the flap. And the flap is actually piece I, piece J is the interfacing. Okay, so that's gonna go there. And then the main panels, PC is the main interfacing heavy, which I'm just using some foam. Here's my piece A's. And then piece B is also the main interfacing. Okay, so there are 2 pieces for each, which is interesting. So I'm going to get my Decaville heavy ironed on, and then we'll come back. All right, so on my base, I have my heavy interfacing, and then I'm going to attach my fleece to the base too. That's what I'm going to do. Here we go. Now, this fleece is very sticky. This is from Fabric Therapy. So once you get it down, it's not coming up. Just FYI. And that's fine. So there's the base. Very nice. Okay, so I got my flap with the heavy on it, and I'm just going to go ahead and clip these together for now. The side panels, you should have 2 of those and 2 pieces of interfacing. Again, I have the fleece. Okay, perfect. So you'll notice I'm using some fleece and some foam. And that's just primarily because I was trying to use up some pieces. Okay. Perfect. There's one side panel. Let's do the other. I don't always show the prep like this, but since this is a new bag and a new designer, I decided I would. Okay, 2 side panels. Okay. Now the main panels get 2 pieces. And I have a piece of foam and a piece of fleece. Okay, there's a piece of foam and a piece of fleece. Beautiful. One. Let's do the other one. I'm putting the foam down first. No particular reason. Okay. So sticky. Next step. All right, so take each of your side panels and we're gonna add our D-rings. I did go ahead and mark my seam allowance here. I think for this bag it's probably gonna be important. So I am going to mark all my seam allowances. And we're just gonna base this on. Based our D-rings on. So the D-rings go on the top straight edge of our sides. So just like this. Okay. All right, so we have our base, and I did go ahead and mark my seam allowances here too. Now on here, we are just gonna sew from I'm putting my main panel A on both sides. Okay, and we're gonna stitch that together at the seam allowance in the pattern. On both sides. And then we're going to turn it in top stitch. Okay. So these seams are going towards the base. I'm gonna have to move this stuff. So we're gonna top stitch with that seam that we just created on the base. 1/8 of an inch. Same on this side, that seam going towards the base. Okay. So that's what you have. It's a beautiful thing. I love it. Okay. Now, we did the D-rings. And the next thing is we're going to attach our side panels to the side. Right sides together. And I think I'm going to mark my centers. Yeah, I'm going to mark my centers so I can make sure I get everything centered. So I'm going to mark the center on my side panels and the center on my base. I I really like, Janie, that you have a nice seam allowance. I think a lot of designers today tend to go a little skimpy on the seam allowance. And I don't know why. I'm sure there's a reason. Okay, so that side, and let's do this other side. Okay, all right, same seam allowance. Okay, then we're going to turn those over. That seam going towards the base, and we're going to top stitch on the base. Make sure your seam is under the base. Okay, so that's what you have so far, isn't it cute? I'm gonna put my tag on, I think. So hold on. All right, so take your piece G interfacing and lay it on your base. And that's where I marked for all 4 of my feet. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I already punched them so you wouldn't have to listen to the terrible noise. So we're gonna add, and I'm just using the purse feet that I sell. I love them. They're nice and flat. And I am using black matte hardware. Okay. I'm living dangerously. I'm going to use some Loctite. Let me grab a... just in case I need it. And I'm just putting a dab of Loctite on the top of each screw. I know. And then I'm going to screw on my feet. And we'll tighten them. Once I get them all on. Could you use another glue? You absolutely could. I just happen to have this Loctite, and so I'm using it. Okay. I'm going to turn this over and tighten my screws. Now, since I have fleece on here, I did not put any extra interfacing. I'm just going to hold on to this and see if I can tighten it. No, that's tight. Very tight. Tight. Perfect. Okay. So 4 purse feet. I love it. Next step. All right, so take your flat pieces. We're going to set that big piece aside. Mark your seam allowance, and on the top, you're also going to mark down from the top, and we're going to fold that down to meet that line. Okay, on both the exterior and the lining piece. I'm just going to grab my seam roller here and just press that. Okay. Now we're going to put these right sides together. And we're going to sew around our seam allowance, leaving the top open. Okay, let's do it. Okay, then we're going to trim that. And I'm going to use my pinking shears. I think it'll trim this. Yeah. Sometimes, you know, pinking shears will only trim a couple layers, and it depends on what it is, but this is fine. See, when I get up here, it's 4 layers, so it's balking at me saying, really? Okay. Beautiful. All right, let's turn it right side out. Now, yeah. Poke out all your corners. That looks really good, actually. I'm just gonna grab my little turning tool. And let's just give that a little roll. Cute. You know, I do like snake skin. Is it one of my favorites? No, but this is very pretty. Very pretty. Okay, let me see what she says. So I've already got my interfacing in there, and I'm gonna top stitch all the way around except for the top. You know what, let me check my, check my bottom. So we're just gonna top stitch on the sides and around the bottom. Add plenty of bottom on there. Nice. So I'm just burning these threads because this will be seen. There's your flap. Isn't it pretty? I love it. Next step. All right, so take your flap, find the center, and I put a piece of double-sided tape here. And on the back of one of your main, this I'm gonna make this my back. Find your center and measure up from the straight edge what she tells you to. And we're gonna lay that right on that line. And I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of my markings. Yeah, good. Then we're gonna sew across that at 2 measurements. Okay. So that's the first one. And then I'm gonna draw the second one. so I know I have a straight line. How about that? I know I'm doing a lot of that. It's weird, isn't it? I never do this. Okay, so and line, second line of stitching, and that is going to give us room to put some rivets, optional. Nice. Okay, I am going to put a couple rivets here. One on each end. Okay. Just going to mark them. One there. And one there. And 2 rivets. You could add more. You could add rivets all the way across if you want to. I'm just going to use these 2. And I'll go press them. Okay, now we're going to sew these side seams, these corners. And so you want to turn it so that it's right side up, the fronts. And we're just going to sew along the line that we made, the mark that we made, here to here. We're not going to go past, okay, on all 4 corners. Very interesting. So make sure you marked your seam. Okay. And one more. All right. Now we're going to turn this over and we're going to clip into this, just the A panels, just to where that meets. Very interesting. Okay. Now we're going to bring all our corners up. Sides. Okay, I'm going to do 2 of these, and then I'll do the other 2. So I'm doing the back first. I just think the back's going to be a little more challenging because of the flap. Because you don't want to sew your flap. So this is what you want. Do you see how that seam meets? Man, that was perfect. I hope I can get off. I have 4 corners to look like that. All right, let's do this side. The back is the hardest because of the flap, so I'd encourage you to do that one first. Just going to take a peek and see how it looks. Oh my, that looks good. All right, let's do this other side. The front will be easier. Now, I did not put a tag on. Let me see something. This goes like this, and then this will come down and around. I'm gonna put a tag right down here. I haven't done that yet. All right, so I put my tag up under the flap. I didn't feel like there was enough room down here, so it's just gonna be under the flap, which I think is fine. So let's do these other 2 sides. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna trim them. But I'm gonna start at 1/2 inch, or about 1 inch down. Yeah. Very interesting. All right. Okay, let's turn it right side out. Let me pull you up just a hair. There we go. Now, I think if I was going to do this again, I would use black thread. You know, it always looks better when the thread matches the majority. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. You guys. Oh my goodness. It's bigger than you think. All right, so there's the bottom. Look how big that is. And there's the sides, and there's your flap. Isn't that cute? Oh my goodness gracious. All right, next step. All right, so we are going to do our part of our flip block, and I just measured from the pattern piece, and then I made sure it was centered on here. And now I'm just gonna cut my hole. I'm gonna get my light down here so I can see good. Make sure it's all straight. And a lot of times, I learned this from my friend Lori, is if you have white shining through, like your vinyl has a white backing, paint it with just a marker. Nothing fancy. This is just a Sharpie. It's gonna be covered, but you just don't, in case anything is showing. There you go. Oh my gosh, that just really makes a difference. So, all right, let's put this on. And I am gonna also use just a tiny bit of Loctite in my holes. And I'm gonna do them one at a time. see how we did. Let me clean up my little Loctite. I'm telling you guys, this stuff is dangerous. So, and it's very sticky. All right, let's see how we did. Oh my gosh. Oh, see, there's some Loctite eking out over here, so if you see that, clean it up. Don't leave that there. Okay, there we go. Perfect. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put the other part on, and what I did was I just pulled this down, and you got to leave a little bit of give, obviously. Yeah. So we're just going to measure and mark where our prongs go. Here and here. Then I am going to use an extra piece of Decabelle. Okay. Yeah, I need to change the blade on this one. Let me leave that out. I changed the blades on one of these. You got to keep these sharp because otherwise you're going to cut yourself. Yeah. This one I changed the blade on. Okay, here's the other part of my lock. Let's make sure it's on there nice and straight. So there it is on the inside. And I am putting another piece here. It's probably not necessary, but I'm doing it anyway. Make sure it's nice and taut. Add your little prongs, and I always fold my prongs in. And then we're gonna add a piece of foam or fleece, whatever suits your fancy. Just something to cover it. Some people use duct tape, and I sometimes use duct tape now that I have pretty duct tape. Okay. So there we go. That's what it looks like on the inside, right here. And let's turn it. Oh my goodness. Isn't that cute, you guys? Oh my gosh, I love it. All right, let's finish up this bag. All right, so you should have drawn a line across the top of all these, and I didn't do it, so I had to do it now, which is not a big deal. And we're gonna fold it down. This is a drop-in lining, so we're gonna fold this down. I did flatten all my seams at the top, just so I didn't have to worry about those being not flat. Okay. we're going to fold that top seam down to that line. I probably will finish this bag on Thor. Just be easier. Why not? Your D-ring should be popping up now. And if it's not stained, go ahead and clip it. In fact, I'm going to clip my corners. Corners don't typically like to stay where flat. Sometimes they do. And then we're going to do our lining. This is really turning out much cuter than I ever anticipated. You know you don't know. Okay, let's set that aside. Next. All right, so let's take your lining piece M's and your top lining, main lining piece, and trying to find the right side of this. On this lining piece, mark down what she tells you to in the pattern, because this is going to be folded over as well. And we're going to attach this. On both pieces. And we're going to sew that together at the seam allowance in the pattern. And pay attention, this seam allowance is a little different. Now we're going to fold that seam towards the main lining and top stitch on the lining. This pink was the perfect pink. I just love it. All right, let's repeat that with this side. the slip pocket. So your slip pocket is right sides together and sew that with the seam allowance in the pattern. Down the side. Let's trim that bottom corner just a little, and we'll turn it right side out. And I'm going to turn around and iron it. All right, so I'm gonna just 1/8 of an inch top stitch on this just so it stays closed. And then we'll add our trim. Which I'm using this, and that can be cute. So it's just 1 inch piece, divided down the middle, tape on either side. And we're gonna add this just shy of the middle line. And it's longer than it needs to be, and that's okay. Then we're gonna fold it over. And top stitch. Just make sure you caught the back. And we did. And then we'll trim the excess trim piece off. Perfect. And there's your slip pocket. Next step. All right, so we have our center marks, and we're gonna measure down from where our lining piece is, and we're gonna center this. I did put a piece of double-sided tape here. Oh, there it comes. Perfect. Now we're just going to stitch all the way around. And then we will divide it. And you can really divide it any way you want. I think I'm going to make one side 3 1/4 and leave this one larger. But you can do it any way you want. You don't have to divide it. It's a pretty big pocket, though. I think people want to divide it. All right. That's done. Now we're just going to do our overlay. Isn't that cute? Oh, I just love it. All right, let's grab your other lining piece, your zipper overlay, and I just need to add some tape here. And let's see where she has us put it. Okay, so this one is a little different, and that's good. Down centered. Right there. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, that looks so good, doesn't it? Now we're going to stitch around the outside. Checking my bobbin. I can't believe I haven't run out yet. So I'm deciding if I put some other tag here. Let me think about that. I decided not to. So now I'm just going to cut out my center here. Let me grab my other pocket stuff. All right, so my zipper pocket right side up, my zipper tape right side up, and I'm gonna just sew that on 1/4 inch. Oh, I think I just lost my bobbin. Yep, just finished my bobbin. All right, let me change my bobbin. All right, now turn that over and we're gonna top stitch that flat. So our zipper tape is nice and flat. And we're going to repeat that with the other side. This is a pretty good size zipper pocket, actually. Same thing, let's turn that and top stitch that nice and flat. Okay. Beautiful. Let's add some, I'm gonna iron that. All right, so let's take our pocket lining, our lining with our opening, and our zipper pocket. I'm gonna add some double-sided tape here. And I am gonna use my zipper jig. Oh, I gotta find a... All right, so I have your zipper pull on. I'm using my zipper jig. I've got tape on either side. And we're gonna lay this nice and centered. All right, so take your lining pieces, right sides together. Match your seams here at the top. And we're going to sew that together to seam allowance in the pattern. Sorry. On the other side. to use my pinking shears because this waterproof canvas frays just a hair. And just trim that. Okay, and we're going to do across the bottom. Trim that too. And then we're going to box our corners. Trim those. Repeat that on the other side. Nice. Very cute. All right,
Next
so I'm
step.
flattening out my side seams on both sides. We left those wide. You'd be surprised how much this really helps decrease a little bit of the bulk in your top seam. It really does help. Okay, then we're going to take our top and fold it down. To that line that we marked. We're almost done, guys. This is a beautiful thing. I think Janie did a fabulous job on this bag. We'll see how it looks when we get it all done. My tape is sticking everywhere. Okay. Let me get my stuff together and we'll go over to the All right, so I'm going to put my zipper pocket in the back. We're going to go ahead and flip this all together first, and then I'll take it over to Thor. So my side seams are in the middle of my dealing connector. It fits perfect. You know, sometimes you just never know. It's perfect. That's the front did anyway. Let's see if that's the back. Perfect. This is so cute. All right, so I'm gonna go thread Thor. Look how good that fits too. Love it. All right, let's top stitch. I'm gonna start in the back here. Hold my threads. I'm just going to pull that thread to the back. There we go. Let's pull this one to the back and tie them off. I'm going to even up my threads. Janie, this is so cute. And I would say it's an intermediate to advanced beginner to an intermediate. It's not hard at all. Guys, absolutely adorable pattern. I see a couple little spots. I need to burn my threads. Now we just need to finish our strap. Oh, look at this. Look how much room's in there. Tons. Oh my. All right, let's finish our strap. So here's our strap, and here is our strap end. So it's gonna go like that, and we're just gonna rivet it on, which is kind of nice. Let me grab some tape here. And I'm just putting some, let me fold you down, some double-sided tape here. All right. Just put it through our, you know, I might put a piece of Decaville right in the middle here, just for a little stability. I think I'm going to. All right, so that's what I did. I think it'll be helpful. So I'm gonna put that on my D-ring. Then I'm gonna add my strap, nice and even. Perfect. Repeat that over here, and then we'll add 1 or 2 rivets. We'll see. Oh my goodness gracious, how cute is that? Yeah, I'm gonna do 2 rivets. So let's mark for our rivets. I'm gonna do 1 there and 1 there. 1 there. And 1 there. Let's punch our holes. Okay. This is so cute, guys. Definitely, I would do 2 rivets. There's plenty of room for 2 rivets. And I would definitely add the Decaville inside there. Sorry, noise. Okay, let's repeat that over here. Okay. All right, I will go punch those, and I'll be back. Guys, this is the cutest pattern. You must go get it. Very different than a lot of things you've probably done recently. The OMA bag by Janie Bags. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. You have a twist lock, you have a shoulder handle, and then open the twist lock, and on the inside you have a zipper pocket, a really big zipper pocket, and on this side you have 2 slip pockets, and then there's tons of room. You could even change this to a crossbody strap, whatever you feel like you want to do. I like the shoulder strap. I'll put it on here for you. Very cute. Isn't that cute? It's perfect. It's just perfect. The OMA bag by Janie Bags. I'll link it in the description. It just released yesterday. Today or yesterday? I think it was yesterday. But this detail here is not hard to do at all. Not hard. And I like that I did the snake skin all the way or in the middle, and then the black on the sides. There's purse feet on the bottom. Look how perfect that bottom is. Very cute. Very, very cute. The OMA bag by Janie Bags. Janie lives in Nigeria, so let's go support a fellow bag maker across the world. I love it. I'll link it in the description. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up. Make a comment. I appreciate you guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.